number 2 to do it in a little bit of a controversial match. Let's take a look at the results now. 215 pounds in Class A. It's Nick Greger to Columbus, winning 5-4 over Louis Marone of North Platte. In Class B, Wade Goring of Auburn, a winner by technical fall over Jeff Muco of Grand Island Central Catholic. In Class C, your state champion, unbeaten, is Andy Osborne, Atkinson West Holt, a 9-1 winner over Justin Erickson of Tekamah-Herman. And in Class D, Willie Douglas wins by pin over Dyron Jacobson of Anselmo Murnau. Now let's take a look at the 275-pound weight class. In Class A, it'll be Bod Murphy, 31-2 junior, facing Lance Tolstedt, 23-8 sophomore from Kearney. In Class B, Chris Minardi, a 31-2 senior from Omaha Gross, meets Phil Peetz, 25-9 sophomore from Elkhorn. In Class C, Kalon Fancher, 29-2 junior from Gordon, meets unbeaten Buck Rasmussen, 29-0 senior from Tekamah-Herman. In Class D, it's Mark Hassett, 27-3 senior from Mullen, meets Mitch Manstedt, 24-6 freshman from Clarks. Well, and we take a look at some unbeaten wrestlers again. Buck Rasmussen from Tekamah-Herman. We've been talking about football players. There's another one of your walk-ons going to Nebraska. Again, unbeaten. Was a state runner-up last year at 215 pounds. And he'll face Kalon Fancher of Gordon.
Whenever you get into the heavyweight matches, you just don't know what's going to happen. I always call it pin or be pinned. You just don't. Anything could happen at these weights. I think one of the key matchups in this division is over in Class B with Phil Peetz, the sophomore from Elkhorn, record of 25-9, against Chris Minardi of Omaha Gross, the senior, with a record of 31-2. But one of those losses is to Peetz. Last week in the district tournament, they went into double overtime, so that'll be an exciting match over there to keep an eye on.
The 275-pound weight class is the only class that gives the number of the maximum amount that you can weigh. The others is the minimum. As they put that cap on, it used to be unlimited, and they put the cap on a few years ago.
And speaking of that, in Class D, I know that Mitch Manstedt, who's the son of the coach Norm Manstedt of Clarks, he's just a freshman, and I heard he had to cut weight this year to get to 275. So hopefully he'll be able to stay trim enough over the next 3 or 4 years to stay within 275 pounds. So,
well, I'll tell you that Mark Hassett from Mullen is a big boy, as he's wrestling Mitch Manstedt.
Well, there aren't too many of them out in this weight class that are small. I'd say if you looked across all 4 mats, the smaller ones would be over in C, but they're also probably the leaner ones of the group too. Still no score on the. Well, we do have a score in C, 2-1 in favor of the undefeated Buck Rasmussen of Tekamah-Herman. He was a runner-up last year. Try to improve on that finish this year. We've got a warning in Class D against Manstedt of Clarks. Now he shoots Clarks. Manstedt of Clarks is in on a single leg takedown on the edge. See if he can finish. And he is able to keep both feet in. Official awards a 2-point takedown.
I'll tell you, taking a look at the Class C match, Buck Rasmussen of Tekamah-Herman is really aggressive. He just charges in there, and sometimes you wonder, that guy like Kalon Fancher, he's 29-2 and ranked number 3. You got to be careful doing that because you can get turned on your back pretty fast. It was Fancher who defeated the number 1 ranked wrestler, Seth Dominguez of Elkhorn Valley, who was unbeaten. So Fancher knows what it's like to be the underdog and win. Well, of course, when you rank number 3, you're barely an underdog. But a pretty good matchup in C. We have no score in Class A, no score in Class B, and a 2-1 score in Class D with Mitch Manstedt of Clarks leading Mark Hassett of Mullen.
Another takedown for Buck Rasmussen of Tekamah-Herman in C.
And that'll give him a...
Oh, I'm sorry, that wasn't a takedown. He started that. We were in the second period already there.
And he leads on top. He leads 2-1, Buck Rasmussen in the purple singlet.
0-0 in B between Phil Peetz of Elkhorn and Chris Minardi of Gross. They're in the second period already over there as well. No score after the first period, and Minardi took down in the second period. We got 1-point escape for Mitch Manstedt in D. This is that 5th and final freshman that I talked about in the opening. freshmen in the finals at heavyweight in Class D. The other 4 freshmen already won.
In Class A, we now have a 1-0 score. Bob Murphy of Omaha Burke comes up with a point and leads Lance Tolstedt of Kearney. Murphy, 31-2 junior.
Chris Minardi of Omaha Gross also gets an escape for a 1-0 lead in Class B over Phil Peetz of Elkhorn.
We're tied now at 2-2 in Class C between Kalon, Fancher, and Buck Rasmussen, and that's really shaping up to be a heck of a match.
But like you said, Buck Rasmussen obviously definitely being the aggressor, and there's a stalling call by referee Nick Shaburis. Stalling call against Kalon Fancher. Rasmussen is definitely the aggressor in that match. Still just 1-0 in A, 1-0 in B, and in D we've got an injury timeout for Mitch Manstedt, but he leads 3-1 over Mark Hassett of Mullen. Hassett has actually beat Manstedt twice this year, but Manstedt out to an early lead in this matchup. Manstedt.
It's a 1-0 score yet in Class A, with Bob Murphy of Omaha Burke leading Lance Tolstedt of Kearney. In Class C, Buck Rasmussen and Kalon Fancher are still tied at 2-2. In Class D, a 3-1 lead for Mitch Manstedt of Clarkson over Mark Hassett of Mullen. And in Class B, it's a 1-0 lead for Chris Minardi of Omaha Gross over Phil Peetz of Elkhorn.
Mark Hassett of Mullen in Class D trying to carry on the family tradition. His brother was a state champ in '89. His father was Mullen's first state champ all the way back in 1966. And he's a senior this year. This is his last chance. He placed 3rd last year and 5th the year before, so this is the year he's got to get it done if he's ever going to do it. Mitch Manstedt, the freshman, on the other hand, is probably going to have 4 chances to do it. We're starting the 3rd period in B. Phil Peetz taking the down position. He trails 1-0 against Chris Minardi, the senior from Gross. Phil Peetz, just a sophomore, doesn't waste any time to get an escape. 4 seconds is all it took him. Now it's going to determine who can get the takedown in this last minute and a half.
So they're tied at 1 in Class B. In Class A, it's a 1-0 lead. It is all very slim. In C, it's tied at 2 in the 3rd period. In D, it's a 3-2 score with 28 seconds to go in the 2nd period. So still has been very, very tight matches all the way around, and now we're going to have a penalty point awarded in Class A. I believe they indicated, yes, they did. And that'll tie the score at 1-1 between Murphy and Tolstedt.
We got an escape by Buck Rasmussen in C. He jumps out to a 3-2 lead.
So Rasmussen,
and there's a stalling call against Fancher, so another point for Rasmussen. Now it's 4-2 in favor of Buck Rasmussen of Tekamah-Herman.
In D, it's 3-2. Mitch Manstedt of Clark still leading over Mark Hassett.
We're tied in Class B. The official Tom Vincentini just called stalling against both wrestlers and awarded points to each. So it's 2-2 now in Class B between Phil Peetz and Chris Minardi. We may see another overtime match like they had last week in the district finals.
Oh, man, what a job by Buck Rasmussen in Class C. I thought he had the takedown, but I guess he didn't have him in bounds. It looked like he had it. Boy, he continues to be the aggressor there.
Now we've got we had a 2-1 lead by Lance Tolstedt of Kearney, but he makes a mistake on the edge. Bob Murphy capitalizing. Now he holds the advantage 3-2 over Lance Tolstedt. 1:08 to go in that match in Class A.
Class B, 27 seconds to go in the 3rd period. We're tied at 2-2 between Chris Minardi of Omaha Gross and Phil Peetz of Elkhorn. And in Class D, it's tied at 3-3 now between Mark Hassett and Mitch Manstedt. 35 seconds remaining in Class C with a 4-2 lead by Buck Rasmussen of Tekamah-Herman over Kalon, Fancher, Gordon. So all tight matches here in the final weight class of the day.
No points awarded. Real close to a takedown, a counter by Phil Peetz against Chris Minardi in B as time ran out. No points awarded. We're going overtime there. We're tied in A, 3-3. 40 seconds to go there.
And a penalty point awarded now in Class C, so it's a 5-2 lead for Buck Rasmussen.
We're tied in D now, 3-3. We might we might have a couple overtimes going on at the same time here. Oh, Mitch, man. Oh, the whistle was blown in Class D. I thought we had a takedown there.
36 seconds remaining in Class D. We're down to 1:50 to go in Class B, tied at 2-2. In Class A, 3-3, our score with 24 seconds to go. 9 seconds to go in Class C, and Buck Rasmussen looks like he's going to win the state title, leading at 5-2. They're down to 2 seconds. So Buck Rasmussen of Tekamah-Herman will be the state champion, winning it by a score of 5-2 over Kalon Fancher of Gordon.
Oh, a nice single leg attempt in B by Phil Peetz. Unable to keep Minardi in bounds.
Class A, we're down to 10 seconds. We're tied at 3-3. In Class D, we're down to 13 seconds, tied at 3-3. In Class B, we're tied at 2-2 with 1:29 to go.
Then that's in overtime in B. With a minute and a half to go in overtime in B. Mitch Manstedt in on a shot again. Oh, and there's a takedown by Mark Hassett. With
Hassett.
2 seconds to go, Mark Hassett, the senior from Mullen, carries on the family tradition with a takedown over Mitch Manstedt of Clarks to win 7-3. He also was awarded near fall points in that match.
7-3 victory for Mark Hassett, an exciting match, and we're going to be going to overtime now in Class A, tied at 3-3 between Bob Murphy at Omaha Burke and Lance Tolstedt of Kearney. In Class B, we have 57 seconds to go in the overtime with a tie 2-2 between Minardi of Gross and Peetz of Elkhorn.
This is a classic case. Both of these matches, neither wrestler wants to commit a whole lot because they don't want to make a mistake. Minute 51 to go in overtime in A. Just 35 seconds to go in overtime in Class B. Tied 2-2 in B, 3-3 in A. A lot of pummeling for position in Class A between Lance Tolstedt of Kearney and Bob Murphy.
15 seconds remaining in the first overtime in B, and now we almost had Tolstedt with a takedown and the victory, but didn't get it, and it appears that Murphy of Omaha Burke is hurt. They'll have an injury timeout in A. 7 seconds remaining in the first
We got
overtime.
7 seconds. This match is probably going to come down to a coin toss. If they're tied after the first 2 minutes, we go to what I like to call the Bronco ride. They got 30 seconds to try to ride him out or try to get an escape, and then here comes the coin toss, and it comes up green in favor of Minardi. He's going to take down. Now we'll see if Phil Peetz can ride him out or if Chris Minardi can get the escape to win the state title in Class B at 275 pounds.
And in Class A, we have 1:17 to go in the first overtime there as we're still tied at 3-3. Of course, in that overtime period, if either wrestler scores, that wrestler wins automatically. Do you think either wrestler has advantage in the second overtime?
You definitely, if you win the toss and you can take the down, 99% of the time you take the down position and hope you can get an escape, unless you're one heck of a rider. The other thing these guys need to be careful of is they have both been called for stalling. Obviously, Minardi's probably not going to stall, but Phil Peetz on top has to be careful that he doesn't get called for just hanging on.
And now we have the champion in Class A.
And we have a champion in Class B. Chris Minardi able to get the escape in double overtime to win over Phil Peetz of Elkhorn 3-2 in favor of Gross Chris Minardi.
And Bob Murphy of Omaha Burke wins in Class A in overtime. And I did not get to see the call for sure.
I think it had to have been a stalling call against Lance Tolstedt.
I believe that's what it was, which is surprising because Murphy had a bit of an injury, but I believe it was a penalty point. But it was a overtime victory for Bob Murphy. So we have concluded all the matches now here at the State Wrestling Tournament. We'll recap 275, and then we'll have the medal ceremonies for you. Just to let you know also the team champions in Class A, Gehring wins the team championship. In Class B, it was Seward with the team title. Class C, Tekamah-Herman, and in Class D, East Butler. So those are your team titleists, and we'll try to run down the team standings at following the medal ceremonies as well to give you the top 5 medal winners. Let's look now at the champions at the 275-pound weight class. In Class A, Bob Murphy of Omaha Burke, the state champion, as he wins at 4-3 over Lance Tolstedt of Kearney. In Class B, Chris Minardi of Omaha Gross wins in double overtime over Phil Peetz of Elkhorn. In Class C, it was Buck Rasmussen in a tight victory, 5-2 decision over Kalon Fancher of Gordon. And in Class D, Mark Hassett of Mullen wins it 7-3 over Mitch Manstedt of Clark's. And Hassett scoring just at the end of the match to win that one. So exciting matches in the 275-pound weight class as we conclude the wrestling action.
Fifth place finisher from Alliance High School, Eric Brown. In fourth place from Grand Islands Islanders, Scott Kutchkow. In the third place position from Millard North, John Urich. The runner-up for 1997 from Kearney, Lance Tolstedt. Ladies and gentlemen, your Class A 1997 275-pound champion from Omaha Burke, Bob Murphy.
Class B, 275 pounds, sixth place, Andrew Schluter, Seward. Fifth place, Rico Carrillo, Sydney. Fourth place, Tom Wisman, Fall City. Third place, Andrew Hansmeyer, Ogallala. The runner-up, Phil Peetz, Elkhorn. And the 275-pound Class B champion, Chris Minardi, Omaha Gross.
The Class C 275-pound medalist, sixth place, Barry Erb, Wilbur Claytonia. Fifth place, Cody Beggin of Rushville. Fourth place, Seth Dominguez of Elkhorn Valley. Third place, J.D. Broski of Kimball. Second place, Kalon Fancher of Gordon. And the 1997 Class C 275-pound state champion from Tekamah-Herman, Buck Rasmussen.
The Class D 275-pound medal winners: sixth, Craig Belena of Howells. Fifth, Josh Francis of Oakland Craig. Fourth, Brian Spath of Malcolm. Third, Anthony Orgazolka of Republican Valley. Second, Mitch Manstedt of Clark's. And the 1997 Class D 275-pound medal winner, Mark Hassett of Mullen. Congratulations.
Once again, congratulations to all the
Well, it's been
winners of
another great
individual awards.
1997 state wrestling tournament.